Hello, video. So, I've been contemplating my first video on this channel for a long time. And, I finally got this little desk chair set up today at my new desk. So, I'm propping up my phone against my laptop. I'm probably going to be looking at myself a lot in this video and not the camera. Just expect it. I wanted to do like a long little rant. See, okay. I talk to myself a lot. I guess I'm gonna go. I tried like making a list of video topics. I don't think I'm actually gonna follow. I mean, I think I'm gonna reach each one, but I think I'm gonna go on many detours on the way there to each one. And none of them, I mean, they're all kind of related, but they're also not. I mean, it's June 30th, the end of Pride Month. That was my first topic. I still want to preface this video though before I get into the topics. Also, look at my nails. I did my nails. I just kind of painted them. They look really shitty. Except for this one. I think this one is cute. It's 3 little flowers. I have a little rose right here. That one's also kind of shitty, actually. I had a lot of roses because I thought they looked cool, but actually now that I'm looking at them, well, this one isn't a rose, that's just like nail polish. This one looks like a rose. But, okay, so, I guess my first topic, which I'll write it down to keep track, because I'm just cool like that. So I guess my first topic is the video or channel that I'm recording for itself. I think I'm gonna like do a little pause before each different topic so this is easier to edit, I guess like a little like, oh, end the video and then I come back. That sounds good. So there's been a lot of like me thinking about how I want to make this channel, because it's not like I've always wanted to be a YouTuber, but I've always talked to myself. I love talking to myself. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Okay, I want to say favorite. I would say it's my most common pastime. I can confidently say I've probably talked to myself for 3 hours straight before and not even realized it. And I do it like if I'm home alone. I have like this specific, like we have tiles in our floor. Like, I don't know how to explain it without going outside my room, but I don't want to do that. For reference, by the way, it's 8:05 a.m. and I pulled an all-nighter at my new little desk. Yeah, I talk to myself a lot. I'll talk to myself. I have like this route where I'll follow the tiles while talking to myself, like from the bathroom that way to the kitchen. And I'll like do a circle around the kitchen, go to the bathroom, walk in the bathroom, go back out, and it's like over and over. And I'll also talk to myself while standing in front of the mirror and in front of a camera. My first video idea that I had was I was like baking, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do like baking and talking. But also I realized like when I cook and bake and shit like that, it's never stuff where like I'm doing something continuously, because are all YouTubers just bad bakers? Because it kind of just seems like they take the longest time to bake like a store-bought cake mix. Is that like bad to say? It's like, I've made cake before, but I thought, okay, if I'm a YouTuber and I'm talking while I'm making a cake, I mean, this should be a fucking piece of cake to make this video like 30 minutes. Like 10. Because what am I going to sit, like, am I supposed, like, if I'm baking a cake, am I supposed to like sit there and talk while it's baking and not while I'm doing nothing? That's just stupid. That just sounds stupid. Look at me going to another topic. So that was my first idea. My other idea was I was going like with like I recorded and edited this whole thing, and it was me basically see, a lot of people have like those little phone suction thingies where you can put it on a wall or something and record your little TikToks in public. I don't have that. So I taped my phone to my like bathroom mirror so I could do like, not really a get ready with me, but like do my makeup with me. I do my makeup a lot. I just like colorful makeup. The majority of my makeup is actually all of it is only eye makeup. And maybe my eyebrows. It's always my lips too. But my lips, it's like, okay, sometimes they'll just be tinted chapstick, so does that really count? I don't know. That was another video idea, and then it was like a mini vlog at the very end with some of my friends who I was going out with. But recently, I recorded one of my rants where I was sometimes I'm just in the mood to talk. So, I just thought of another topic, so, nah. Also, some of these topics, they're related, but it's like, I feel like I've written them in the wrong order, so it's weird. Anyways. Like, not in the wrong order, but just, like, it's, like, I feel like I should talk about some of them first and then the others next, you know? So, yeah, that's that. But I recorded a video of myself ranting the other day. It was an hour and 17 minutes. But what's funny is I feel like this one's gonna be longer. It's like my first topic is literally explaining the videos that I was planning on being my first video on this account. And it's 7 minutes. This recording is 7 minutes. And I don't really plan on editing this. More so just like, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna edit this at all, actually. Is that crazy to say? Probably. I don't know. Low-key, I've become so used to Instagram audio messages being on 2x speed that I might just speed up the entirety of all the recordings by 1.1. So, I don't think I'm gonna do that. The freaking iPhone has like that little feature where when you're recording, there's a pause button. I might just use that. I don't think I want to do a whole separate, like, this recording. That just sounds like I don't want to do that. Because I also I don't even want to put this into an editing app. I kind of just want to upload it straight from my phone. And I think that's actually exactly what I'm going to do. Great idea. Oh, by the way, my name's Scarlett. Some brief information. That's another topic, I guess, but my name is Scarlett. I'm an incoming sophomore. Some of my interests, I like My Hero Academia. Wait, oh, I'm spinning too far. Okay, I'm spinning the other way now. Okay, those are all my figurines, and I have a shit ton of Funko Pops. Like, literally, when I say a shit ton, there's multiple layers of this. Like, a lot of Funko Pops. I recently wanted to, like, I decided that, like, here's the thing. My Hero isn't even, like, one of my favorite animes, but, actually, it is my favorite anime. It's not even one of my favorite, it is my favorite anime. But I feel as though, in proportion to the other animes I watch, it's not like, oh, My Hero is 99% of the entirety of everything I watch. No, I watch a lot of anime, but I don't have any other merch. So I recently got a Lloyd Forger Funko Pop. Now, did I ever finish Spy Family? No, I should probably actually start rewatching it. Because I can't get back into things in the middle of, like, season 2. That just doesn't feel right. But I love slice of life shit, so. What else about me? I like reading a lot. I recently had a very, like, weird shaped bookshelf where, like, it had, like, very, like, it was like, ooh, we're gonna do, like, an L-shaped box. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be so inconvenient for your storage. So, and I had that shelf for years. and then my books were fucking like overflowing. I will say I've been on like somewhat of a reading hiatus, but recently I started getting back into reading again. I was never out of reading. It's just like when the freshman year started and we had like assigned reading books, I can't read more than one book at once before my brain fucking explodes. So I didn't read most of freshman year outside of school. Oops. Anyways, we're gonna get into our first topic, so let me just pause right here and then, yeah. By the way, I paused for easily like 5 seconds and then just restarted. Anyways, my first topic is Pride Month itself. I have a big... I feel like I hear someone. Wait. Okay, I'm back. I might talk a little bit quieter, but you can still hear me, so it's okay. Pride Month. I in terms of like sexuality, gender, religion, all of the things that like are integral parts of people's identities, I've never really been confused about. I'm back. My dad walked in and was like, "Did you stay up all night?" Because he was awake at like 4 a.m. Anyways, I'm also gonna add another topic real quick. This one I'll do next because I feel like it's not that serious. Anyways, Pride Month. Again, I feel like I've always been very, I wouldn't say comfortable, but just accepting of my own identity. No, it's not that I share it with everyone. It's just that I'm not confused about it. I've never been confused about what I am. Like, and even, like, when I've changed who I am a little bit, like, in terms of what I identify with or being as, I still wasn't confused. I was just like, yeah, this is me. Like, okay, let me give examples. I was never really a Christian. Religion could be a whole topic that I could talk about in itself, but I'm not going to, because I don't feel like it. By the way, if you hear anything, just ignore it. Oh, my dad just farted. Lovely. Okay. Like, okay, religion, never been something I was confused about, because, I mean, my parents were never religious. I was never religious, being, like, the fucking child I am. I was, I guess. I'm a teenager now. I'm pretty cool, pretty grown. But yeah, I've never been a religious person. And then I remember I went to Bible camp when I was, like, 8, in Oregon. And they were talking about, like the snake of sin or whatever. And all I was thinking in my head, I was like, this is complete bullshit. And like before that point, it was like one of those things where it's like you know the sky is blue, you don't question it in a religious sense. But it's like you don't question the sky is blue. It's like because you don't question it, not because, oh, you are so sure the sky is blue. Well, you are, but like, again, it's like the difference between I'm sure the sky is blue and, I mean, yeah, the sky's blue. That's how I kind of felt about God. And then when I didn't believe in God, I was just like, okay, I guess I'm an atheist. I don't know how I knew what that was at not 11, 8 years old. That's kind of weird. I mean, I guess it isn't, but kind of weird. But it's the same thing with like my sexuality. Like I'm not age 9, and I do kind of feel like it's because at the age of 9 I had TikTok. Because I was 9 in 2020. I turned 10 in 2020, but I was 9 for like the first 9 months of 2020, and then near the end of 2020 I turned 10. I'm turning 16 this year. Holy shit. Actually, that's like in 3 months. Or actually 2.5 months. 2 months and like 9 days. September 9th is my birthday, and it's about to be July. That's crazy. Anyways, it's like same thing with like TikTok. I found out what bisexual means, and it was just like, yeah, that's me. I mean, I like both. I don't really care. And I don't. I would say, oh, I probably have a preference for guys at this point in my life, mostly because, I don't know. I don't think I would ever date a girl at my school specifically, mostly because I'm friends with a lot of, like, I would never ruin a friendship by getting together with someone unless I was so sure that we were gonna work out, or so sure that we would, like, bounce back if we broke up. Those are, like, the two conditions, and I'm not sure about any of that. And also, I've never just been attracted to any of my friends. I think that as soon as I become friends with anybody, girl or guy, the attraction, like, any romantic attraction, zilch, none. Which is it's good. It's a good thing. And I want, like, okay, that sounds like, it kind of sucks, because then I don't want to date someone who I don't know, but how am I going to know someone without being friends first? And also, I don't want to date someone. I don't want to become friends with someone just because I want to date someone. Because then it doesn't feel like a real friendship. So I guess it's all just contradictory. Maybe this is why I'm single. Oh, maybe this is why I'm single. Maybe I just don't want a relationship, actually. And then with gender. Gender is one of the things where it's like, I feel like gender is the thing that's such a hot button, like, fucking topic in the world. And, like, I heard about neo-pronouns, and I was like, at first I was like, that's kind of weird as shit. But again, when I first heard about it, I didn't really give a fuck. And when someone's like, oh yeah, I go by Z-zer, or fucking, like, a bottle/bottle self, I don't care. I don't care if anyone wants to go by that. Like, at first I thought, okay, that's kind of weird, but I don't care enough. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, and I feel like thinking about these not issues. I wouldn't say, like, identity itself is an issue, but I think that the idea that we care so much about what other people do is an issue. People will talk about, like, oh, the LGBTQIA plus issue. That's not an issue with the LGBTQIA plus. I'm just gonna say LGBTQ. That's not an issue with the LGBTQ. That's an issue with judgment. That's an issue with not minding your fucking business. Who gives a fuck? Like, it's not even an inconvenience to fucking use, like, whatever pronouns anyone wants you to use. And yeah, you can think they're stupid, but it's just about respect. And it's like, yeah, maybe you don't respect someone either. But I also think that, like, if I called every man I ever saw, like, girl, I've never, ever, ever in my entire life, I've never called a man girl, because I'm like, girl, be so for real, or some shit like that. I've never, ever, ever had a guy not say at least once, who are you calling girl? Bitch, you. My glasses keep falling and it's pissing me off. Okay. It's like, obviously people want to be called what they want to be called, whether or not they're cisgender or not. So why does it matter? Why do we care so much? And I understand the issue, like, it's not even, I understand, like, the iffiness with, like, gender reassignment surgeries under the age of 18. I understand that issue. It's not even, but even then, it's still, in my mind, not completely an issue. Because someone getting gender reassignment surgery is better than them wanting to commit suicide. And then people will make the argument, like, okay, if someone wants to commit suicide, then they need further help. And I agree with that. I think that you should go through certain, like, I mean, I wouldn't even say, well, it's like, when you see people who have, like, really crazy-ass plastic surgery, and I'm not comparing plastic surgery to gender reassignment surgery, but when you see people who, but they're both, like, they're both unnecessary or unneeded surgeries that people can get, and sometimes people get them when they're not in the right mental space. And I think if someone is below the age of 18, and they are not mentally well, and their parents don't want them getting a surgery they shouldn't. I don't think that with everything, every scenario is different. It really depends. So I understand, like, concerns for a child's safety is what I'm trying to say. Concerns for things like that. But I think when we get into the territory of, like, you were born this gender, and now you go by these pronouns. Like, genuinely, what are we doing? Genuinely, what universe are we living in where that's, like, a crazy thing? And, like, my dad, I've heard him say, and he's not, I wouldn't say he's homophobic. Would I say he's transphobic? He said before, he's like, you know, the LGBTQ, they went from gay marriage immediately to trans issues. They didn't give anyone time to breathe. Well, that's kind of how activism works. And, like, my dad has worked in activism. He's worked in politics. Not worked, but, like, volunteered in politics so many times. And he volunteered for, like, certain organizations. It's like, you know how this works, so why are you confused? And maybe it's because I don't understand it as much. Maybe. But overall, I mean, I seem very, like, what's the words? Like, when I'm talking about this, I seem very, like, this is just, like, matter of fact. But, like, I've cried about these things before. I've cried about, like, the other day, every single time I see a Wolf Parade edit with, Wolf Parade is the one who made that song where it's like, I'll believe in anything and you'll believe in anything. Like the freaking Give Me Your Eyes, I Need Sunshine song. I'll believe in anything by Wolf Parade. Whenever I see an edit and it's about Pride Month or about Pride in general, I cry. In a good way, but also in a bad way. I think that, like, for me, sad or happy tears are still sad tears in a way, because a lot of times when I'm crying happy tears, it's because I'm happy that we've gotten to the point where people aren't fucking killed for wanting to be themselves, and people are still killed today for wanting to be themselves, but still. And then the other day I saw a video showing trans people who have been murdered because of a hate crime against them for being trans. It's just, when I see those things, it makes me wonder, like, how is there so much hate in the world? Like, we hear about serial killers, and we hear, like, we acknowledge, that's fucking terrible. Who the fuck would want to kill another human being? And then when we hear about these people who are killed for wanting to be who they are, I mean, I will say a lot of people do think it's terrible, but less people think it's terrible. And that just fact alone is just weird, right? Am I crazy for thinking that, oh, if you're gay or trans or have neo-pronouns or whatever the fuck you want to do, you should be able to fucking exist and not be murdered? Is that crazy to say? I don't think it is. Shocker. Hot take. I don't think it's okay to kill people. And it's just like, I hear something. It's just like, I don't get it. And it's like, personally, my pronouns, I don't give a fuck. He, she, they. She, he, they. I don't have a preference. I don't care. Again, that's what I started with. I don't care about any of it. For me personally, my identity. But also, I guess, like, with Pride Month ending, it's kind of bittersweet for me. Because I never go to rallies. Because I don't feel comfortable doing. I guess I'm not fully comfortable. I want to, but I know that I wouldn't be able to go with anyone who's, like, a friend. I wouldn't want to go with my parents. I wouldn't want to go with anyone who isn't my friend. But none of my friends are normally able to go to those things because their parents are worried about, like, the political climate. They're worried about, like, oh, counter protests, stuff like that, which is valid. valid. But it's just like sad. I don't know. It's just like, in my mind, like, I am comfortable with my identity. But I also think that when it comes to Pride Month specifically, it's bittersweet because I don't really express my pride ever. And it's not that I would ever, like, shy away from telling, like, someone my age that. Because, I mean, older people, I feel like, wouldn't understand. And also, I'm not around older people, so if I have to interact with an old person, like, fucking one day in a year, I don't care to tell them. It's like, hey, Grandpa, I know I only see you, like, 1 week every year, if that, but I want to let you know I'm bisexual, and my pronouns are she, he, they. I just don't think there's a point for me to do that. But it's also just like I didn't even post anything for Pride Month other than one post that was on my close friend's story that was like, Happy Pride Month. And it's just difficult because I feel like sometimes I don't have the right to celebrate it. Which I know I do. I know as a fact I do. But sometimes it's those things where it's like I feel like I'm not allowed to do something just because I'm not fully in it. Which I am fully, like, LGBT. Like, I would say, I don't know what label I would be. Like, I don't care. Did you guys hear that yawn that my dad just did? Anyways, I don't care enough. But I want to care enough to do Pride. And I think part of the reason why I don't do Pride, like, celebrate it, is just because, like, it's just, like, I've always known who I am, and know that is a great blessing, which, again, I don't even believe in God. Blessing. Though that is a great gift from whatever's out there, I am agnostic. Anyways, though that is a great gift, and I'm very lucky to have always known who I am, and though that will change, I've always been good with coming to terms with, like, oh, I realize this about myself, okay. It makes it feel like there's no struggle that I'm celebrating, overcoming. I know that there are other people who have struggled, and I weep for them. But I haven't struggled. And so I feel like it's weird for me to celebrate it, or I feel like I'm not undeserving. I just don't feel it's a mix of not feeling the need to celebrate, because in my mind it's like, oh, I've never had to overcome anything to get to the point I'm at. And I'm also not discriminated against because I'm white. That's a whole other thing that I'm not going to get into, like, the privilege that some people have they don't realize. Just, like, there's a lot of stuff where, like, if you're white and queer, you're still very privileged. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. Like, I have never really been oppressed. I've never been bullied for anything like that. I've never gone through much, like, because of who I am. And maybe one day I will. And then I'll be inclined to celebrate Pride. And I know it's also a thing of, like, celebrating how much that has been overcome. And I mean, it's also just a barrier where I can't. But then it's also just, I guess my way of celebrating Pride is having these conversations. My video cut off, because I had no storage left. But yeah, Pride Month is kind of a sore spot. Not a sore spot, but when it ends, it's bittersweet because I always wish I celebrated it more. But then I also am grappling with the feeling of, like, what am I personally celebrating? And I know that in my mind it feels selfish because Pride Month isn't about me, but it's about Pride. So it feels like if it's Pride Month, I should have pride in myself, but I don't have anything to be. Can you guys hear that? Please tell me you can. Okay. It's just like, I don't feel like I have anything to be prideful of in myself, because I've always just known who I am. And I've never had anything to prove for it. So, yeah. We're gonna move on to the next topic, because I feel like I'm done talking about this one. Okay. I kind of realized that the other 5 topics were similar. So, I numbered them in the correct order that I should talk about them. The first one is getting out of self-inducing cycles. That could be for anything. For me personally, it's just like, I wouldn't say depression. I would say difficult spots. I'm gonna like wait for a few minutes before the noise outside my room quiets down. Okay, so the next topic is, getting yourself, or at least my personal experience. POV, as soon as I start talking again, my parents start talking again. You guys are just gonna have to deal with it, and me too. At least if they're talking, I know they're not listening to me talking to myself, so. Me getting myself out of a self-inducing cycle. Again, incoming sophomore, I haven't always been like a very happy person. I think now I would consider myself happy. I mean, not in this moment, but in general, But, specifically 7th grade. There was a lot of stuff that happened in 7th grade. I think I will talk about some of it because it gives context for this. Okay. Anyways, it gives context for this. So, I'm just gonna use initials. Not even initial. I'm just gonna say like 1, 2, and 3, and like number people. So I was in this friend group, and I guess I'll also talk about new topic unlocked. I was in this friend group, and I wouldn't say it was exactly a toxic friend group, but I would say that some of the people in there definitely didn't care about everyone else as much as others cared about them. And I feel like that's evident now because the friend group is broken up. There's really only like 2 other people who I'm friends with from that specific group. So that's one thing to note. We are no longer all friends, but and we're going as far back as to elementary school. I would say I never really had a best friend growing up. And that didn't fail me in any way. That didn't make me feel like, fuck. Actually, I feel like I should talk about, this is relevant though, but this is also kind of one of the other topics. Specifically, I never really had a female best friend. I had friends who were female. I didn't have a person in my friend group who was one of my greatest friends, who was a girl. And I still, even though I didn't have a best friend, my bestest friend was a guy, but he wasn't my best friend. I didn't have a best friend. POV, my fucking father acting like Homer Simpson saying dope. Homer drops his donut. Okay. Me trying to be serious and all that shit, and then I'm just like, Homer drop. Okay. Let me calm down. Mind you, I'm so chill right now. So I never really had a female friend group, I guess, that liked me. 7th grade though, so this friend group was created in 6th grade, and I'd always been friends with some of the people in it, but then some people left, some people rejoined, so it was basically a whole new friend group by the time 7th grade hit. There's 2 girls in the group, girl 1, girl 2, or I'll just call them the trio. I started becoming friends with them. They were already friends. One of them had been going to my school for a while. One of them joined last grade of elementary school, which for where I live, it's 6th grade. And they became fast friends. They became one of the duos in our big friend group. And it was like a friend group of like literally 6 or 7. They became fast friends, and then when I joined, it was very obvious like I was the odd one out, which I knew, but I didn't necessarily care about, because I'm just nonchalant like that. But in the back of my mind, I always knew like I'm like their second option in comparison to each other. Which, it's, again, I keep saying this, I didn't completely care about it, but when you're feeling sad late at night, that is one of the negative thoughts that you would cling on to. 7th grade specifically, I was always struggling with like having negative thoughts about everything. And I do think part of it was hormones, but I think that when people reduce negative emotions to just hormones in teenagers and preteens, it just negates all the emotions that they're feeling. Because when you're feeling shitty, you don't want to be told, oh, you're just hormonal. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you don't want to be told that if you're having a shitty day. Oh, it's just your hormones. Pipe down. Maybe take some testosterone, bro. I don't even fucking know. But it's just like, that's what it was like. It was just this negative cycle of me telling myself bad things about myself and overthinking things. And what's weird is none of it was based in fact. None of it. I would tell myself I was a horrible person. I'm not significant enough to be a horrible person. Someone who's a horrible person, like, donates millions of dollars to Benjamin Netanyahu. I was just like a 13-year-old. And then, when I was comfortable, like, I don't know, when I was comfortable enough with this group, I told them, I was like, I got a crush on this guy in the friend group. We'll call him Dude. So I had a crush on Dude, and I told this trio of girls who I was now friends with, and this is 7th grade. They're like, oh my gosh, cool. It's not a big deal. But this dude, we talk to each other sometimes, and we vent to each other. He specifically vents to me, and I'm not like texting first or venting first. I'm like, hey, dude, I really need some help right now. A lot of times, it would be conversations that both of us would start, and we would send long paragraphs back. Normally, he'd be the one who would vent to me, and I'd say, it's okay, and he'd be like, no, it's not. That's essentially how every single thing went with this dude. And so because he was like comfortable emotionally with me, I thought, okay, maybe he likes me. Maybe I like him. So I told my friend group this, and I would always tell them, I wouldn't tell them that he vented to me, but I would say, we talked for hours the other day. That's how I would frame it. Because I didn't want to say, like, he's venting to me. Because I didn't want to, like, be like, oh, this is what he said. Like, that just, I feel like even mentioning that someone vents to you is kind of telling randoms their secrets, in a sense. So I don't tell them that, like, it was venting shit. I just say, oh, we've been talking for hours in, like, private messages, direct messages, DMs. And we all had this big group chat, too. Fast forward, I get put into, it's like a Friday, and I get put into this group chat with the 2 girls who I was in this trio with, the dude, and an other dude in the group chat who was one of my bestest friends. Again, this is like one of the guys where it's like, oh, I have a best friend, but he's not, like, he's just not a best friend, you know? It's like he's my bestest friend, but he's not my best friend, because it's different. He gets added as well. There's 5 people in this group chat. What's crazy? Girl 1, what's crazy is it's the girl who I was closer to in the trio, because she's the one who originally started inviting me to hangouts and stuff. She and dude were talking while he was, like, venting to me and shit. And I get, like, venting isn't a sign that someone likes you. I really shouldn't have taken it that way. But I did. But I did. And I got pissed. Not because, oh, they like each other, but because I told that friend group, that like trio of girls, that I liked him weeks ago. And I'm not saying, oh, I had dibs. No, I'm saying they could have told me so easily. They could have said, oh, well, blah, 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 and him are actually, like, kind of, like each other. And even if they weren't talking, oh, I kind of like him. If you still want to like him, that's okay, but I just want to give you a heads up that I would not care. Not in the sense of, like, oh, I don't care that you like him. I'm going to go for him anyways. But in the sense of, like, oh, okay, that's fine. And I'd probably back off. But they didn't do that, did they? At all. That pissed me off a lot. And that was like the start to where it got really bad for me. And when I say really bad, like, I never hurt myself. I never did anything like that. But my mental state was just shit. Because at that time, I was already just negative about myself. I was already thinking to myself, everyone hates me. And that, for me, when they made that group chat and told me that, oh, they're actually talking, that was my confirmation for me. And that doesn't feel good. Because again, and I get, like, okay, you just made a new friend in your friend group who's the only, like, the third girl in your friend group, and you have one girlfriend in your friend group, but you don't want to ruin it with the third one in the group. Like, I get, like, oh, I just became their friend, they don't want to ruin the friendship immediately by telling me, but it ruined it more and did more damage to me by not telling me. And that's, like, the thing I don't get. So after that, I just, like, told myself, and the reason I say that it was self-induced, like, fucking whatever it was, I wouldn't say it was depression. I mean, maybe it was. I just know I'm a lot happier now, like, by a lot, so maybe it was depression, I don't know. But it's like, and I stayed friends with them. Monday, I was so scared for. And my friend, I'm still friends with the girl who was talking to him. She's the one I stayed friends with. She's one of my bestest friends ever, and I love her. I forgive her. I mean, I never told her, like, she never apologized specifically for it, but she said that was a crazy time. It still bothers me thinking about it because of just how easily it could have been avoided. So, but this reason I say it's self-induced is because I just went down this whole spiral in my brain every single night, every night, of just, all my friends hate me, all my friends hate me, all my friends hate me. And I would cry and cry and cry, thinking, oh, all my friends, like, that's the one thing that, like, repeated in my brain. And, like, you know, in 2020, when there was, like, shifting and, like, affirmations and, like, law of attraction, if you say it enough times and believe it, it'll happen. I do low-key believe in that stuff sometimes when I'm really, I don't know, daydreaming or something. But it's almost like when you self-deprecate yourself and say things about yourself, even if they're not true, so often you will start believing they're true. If I believe all my friends hate me, or if I keep saying all my friends hate me, I'm going to believe it. And so I did. And I caused that. And then the one day, just, I mean, nothing I did changed. There's just, like, this switch that flipped. And one day I just told myself, I vividly remember it was late at night after crying. And I didn't say it out loud. I didn't. But I said in my head, I said to myself, I didn't whisper anything to myself, but it was nighttime, so in my head I whispered to myself, I'm just gonna stop thinking about it. All of it. And I did. It worked. I don't know how that happened, but it worked. Isn't that fucking crazy? I told myself I'd stop thinking about it, and I just did. Cold turkey, just Okay, I guess I'm done talking about how much I hate myself. Woo! Like, isn't that weird? Because that's not normally, like, you'll look for advice and nobody ever says, like, oh, I just got over it. I just, like, immediately got. But I told myself once, oh, I'm over it. I don't care to tell myself this anymore because I know it's what's making me feel bad. And then I was done. And that's, like, just bizarre to me. It's bizarre! Like, it's just, like, ugh, my hair is annoying. I don't have a clip, whatever. Okay. It's just crazy because it's like, what do you mean I like, and I know I keep repeating myself, I just stopped. I felt like shit, and when I look back on those months, I felt terrible. Like, when I look back on those months, I felt terrible compared to now. But I just stopped. And when you think about it, it almost makes me enraged even more that I just didn't stop to begin with. Because obviously, like, if I was able to stop cold turkey randomly, then I was always in the headspace to stop. I just chose not to, I guess. I don't know. So, that's weird. I don't know. I just thought about it for a little bit. It's just weird. I don't know. And I feel like that's the time that I felt the worst in my life. And, I mean, there have been, like, specific times, but, like, I mean, like, a prolonged period where I felt like shit. And I think, in a sense, the months following, I still felt that way, but I wouldn't cry. I would try not to cry. I would try not to express it, because I think that the crying did, like, some people will say, oh, you should express your emotions, but I do think the crying made it worse, in a sense, a lot of times for me. I do think it did, because when I was crying, it's because I was in a shitty mood, and if I cried, I'd be like, shut up, stop crying, you're too privileged to be sad. I would literally tell myself I was too privileged to allow myself to be sad. Are we fucking kidding? Mind you, human. POV, you're an alien, and you're trying to convince all the humans that you're human. Human. Okay. But I don't know, it's just weird to think about that I just flipped that switch. And I didn't do anything. And it's weird because I feel like you never, because that's exactly what made me stop. I just didn't do anything. I just told myself I would stop. But I feel like you never see that. Like, you never see anyone say, oh, if you're depressed, do this. Just tell yourself to stop. And you'll stop. You've never, like, I feel like I've never heard that when trying to get over it. Like, when I was researching, like, resources and, like, methods to do to make me calm down. Nothing ever said, just stop. No one ever told me to do that. And I'm not saying, like, it's gonna be that easy. Because I think for a while after that, I did feel the same way. I just kind of buried it a little bit. Okay, I think, like, burying emotions, I'm gonna get into this a little bit later. But I think now I do more of that, which also isn't healthy, but I think it's healthier than what I was doing. Because the way I was expressing it wasn't good. And I cry now, but I find outlets to cry that aren't related to me. So I can't think to myself, oh, I'm such a fucking failure, or whatever I want to think. I can't give myself the opportunity to think about that when I'm crying about something entirely, different. So that's something. So, next topic. The next one is kind of gonna go hand in hand with, so there's a second one and a third one. They're the same, but they're the same. It's changing myself that I wrote down, and becoming an extrovert. I would never say I was ever an introvert. I mean, growing up, I think I was. I was bullied heavily for some reason in the 2nd grade. What fucking 8-year-old was bullying me? I mean, I know, but 8 years old? That's kind of wild. And I was really sad about it, and I wouldn't tell my parents. So at one point, I was an introvert. And I would say even as early on as 6th grade, I was an introvert. Which sounds like, oh, you were so young, you were 12. But, like, really, that was only, 3-4 years ago. Because I remember I had these flashcards where I would go around the playground during our fucking 15-minute recesses and just memorize the order of the presidents' names. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James C. Cannon, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, Grover Cleveland, Theodore Roosevelt. And I forgot the rest. I memorized 5 more, and then I never memorized the rest. But that's what I would do on the playground. And I wouldn't say I was an introvert. I wouldn't say I didn't talk to people. But I definitely didn't go out of my way to. Which I think is kind of what an introvert is. And I remember also, going back to that girl group, sometimes they would go up to me and be like, why do you just read flashcards on the playground? And I would be like, because I want to. And then they just, leave me alone after that. So I keep looking to the side because I don't know where else to look other than my face, but I also don't want to look at my face. Okay, anyways. I don't know. Again, a lot of the changes in my life that I've made, most recently, becoming an introvert, though, right? I think that kind of started in 8th grade. And in 9th grade, I just fucking flourished. That was stupid. I liked it, though. Yeah. I don't know what flip switched. Or what switch flipped. I think part of it was new high school from middle school, 8th grade to 9th grade, new school, more kids. I think that is part of it. But even now, it's I'll become friends with fucking anybody. And yeah, I mean, I become friends with people in so many ways. And it's gotten to the point where whenever I tell my mom I make new friends, she's like, Scarlett, just because you have a conversation with someone doesn't mean you're their friend. Okay, negative Nancy. But, cynical. I was about to say my mom's name. Cynical. I'll call her Cynical Sue. My mom's name isn't Sue, but it's close enough. Okay. But it's just, again, I feel like it was, this flip that switched overnight. I remember at one point, so I realized after 8th grade, during the summer, that I have a lot of people who I don't love with my wholest heart. I would say I strongly dislike them. And I told myself, at the end of 8th grade, yeah, when high school starts, I'm just not going to go out of my way to talk to them. Because I realized I kind of went out of my way to talk to the people I don't like. And so I stopped doing that. And it's made my life so much better. But again, it was just some switch that fucking flipped in my brain. Don't know how it happened. And it's just weird. It's just that switch in my brain. There's certain things about myself that I guess I could just change on a whim. Which I don't think it means it's disingenuous. I think it just means, I don't know. But yeah, becoming an extrovert and changing as a person, I feel I think I could talk about for hours about how the internet changed me more than anything else. I think in regards of changing my personality and stuff like that, or changing as a person, I didn't really change much in interests and stuff, but I also think that, I don't know. I've recently, 8th, 9th grade. I mean, I just finished 9th grade, my freshman year of high school. My most recent outlook on life has just been, be kind, try to be nice. But for some reason, this is the one switch that I can't completely flip. Because sometimes I just feel like I'm mean. And it's not that I try to be, but it's like sometimes I'll accidentally not think about what I say and be mean. But for some reason, this flip won't switch where I like tell myself, okay, be nice, Scarlett. And I'm nice. This hasn't flipped yet. And I've tried, and it hasn't. And it's just like, now I have to put effort into it. To remember, okay, I shouldn't say shitty things. And I think I'm getting better at it, because me and my friend, we shit talk sometimes. But sometimes I'll say, okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Or sometimes I'll say, okay, let's not go that far. Which is like the bare minimum. I mean, I guess in a sense it doesn't completely matter if it's not someone who if it's someone who is mean, I think it's okay to talk to my best friend about it. But even then, I don't know. I've been reflecting a lot on the past, and I think that's driven most of the change I've been doing most recently. But also the future. I have this whole life plan, right? I want to be an author. Okay, this is the steps, right? Publish my first book before high school ends, which I'm already writing. Go to Brown University, my dream school, because they have an open curriculum, which is really good if you want to be an author. Graduate, which I'm just gonna lump that in with the second one. And then I think I want to live on the East Coast. I want to have a successful authorship career to where I can purchase a big, and when I say big, I mean like a big plot of land where I have a big property. And I want to design my dream house. It's going to be like 3 stories, except for like one of them is going to be a basement. And I guess an attic, but that doesn't count. So like basement, first story, second story, attic. And I want to have a sewing room after I get good at sewing. Well, it's not just a creativity room where I have like all the stuff to be creative. I have like a writing desk and a vision board maker and fabric and a sewing machine and my embroidery stuff because I like embroidery and a bunch of instruments that I'll learn how to play. And I'll have, around the house, I'll have like shelves with my figurines on them. And I'll have like a room where it's like my library room where I have like some bookshelves with just normal books and then some bookshelves with my anime, like my most precious anime figurines on display with my manga that I'm going to have at some point. I don't own any manga, but if I get rich, I will. And then my bedroom is going to be I like my bedroom. I want my bedroom to be, maybe not the same forever, but I want it to be nice. So I think yeah. And I think I do want to find someone who I love. But I don't think it's going to be one of my biggest priorities. I want to have a lot of friends who live near. And though I do hope, I know I'm going to stay friends with my best friend forever. And maybe I'll look back at this and laugh and be like, oh, if only she knew. But I'm going to tell myself for now that I'll be best friends with my friend forever. My best friend forever. No matter how far the distance is. My best friend is like one of the other things that's changed a lot in my life. Actually, I'll get into this next, I guess. Or, I guess I'll just get into the next topic, which is getting a best friend. I said earlier, like, I've never really had a best friend. I have had best friends. And I remember I rolled my eyes when my mom said, oh, you can't have best friends. You have to have one friend who's your best. Because you can only have one who's the best. My cat's going to be meowing in the background because he hears me and he wants to come in. Kitty! BRB. I let my cat into the room. Kitty, come here. Come here. Come here, kitty. Come here. Come on. Kitty, come on. Okay, I guess he doesn't want to come up. But yeah, I've never really had a best friend. And that's never really been a difficult thing for me. Because I always thought to myself, okay, I just have multiple best friends. And it's just crazy to me that now I have a best friend. Ace. That's my best friend in the whole world. And I almost feel guilty saying that sometimes. Because the other girl who I mentioned, who's in that trio who I stuck with, I used to consider her one of my best friends. She, in reality, she was, her and my best friend Ace were tied for a really long time. Which just sounds fucked up that I rank it, but it's, we all subconsciously know our connections with people. So why pretend like we don't? I had an equal connection with, one of my best friends to my best friend. I still call her one of my best friends. Because she is. But Ace is my best friend. And getting a best friend, you see, I never understood, why can't you have multiple best friends? And maybe I was just never really close with all my best friends, or people who I call my best friends. Maybe I just wasn't as close as I thought I was, and maybe they weren't, my best friends. But, kitty, come here. Come on. But I just think it was, it's one of those things where it's I didn't know until I knew. When you know, you know. When you know, you know. Okay, anyways. I knew at one point. I remember me and Ace hung out at an arcade. And by the way, most of the stuff that I'm talking about, I probably told to Ace at some point. It's not this account is kind of just going to be for me, myself, and I. And if anyone from school finds it, oh well. Oh no, I don't really care. Because I don't think anyone from my school would actually watch the entire video. But most of the stuff I've already told to, people I trust with it. But, in, our own separate conversations. But, we were, me and Ace were walking. And we went to this arcade that was in the mall. And the arcade is always open past the time that the mall is open. So we left the arcade and decided to walk around outside the mall. It was 10 or something. It was late. We were walking around the parking lot, trudging, and we were, literally going from, parking lot, because there was so many parking lots. There was, 3 separate lots for this one mall, because it's a big-ass mall, right? Normal mall, but it's, big as fuck, because it's a mall. Kitty, come on. But, we were walking around, we were talking about dudes. Now, I don't know. Guys, I don't know how to feel about them. I don't have many guy friends. I have some, but not many. And we're talking about guys in, the sense of a relationship, or just relationships in general. And we're talking about, the physical aspect of, oh, someone has to be hot. Oh, it's so difficult to, know if you're attractive or not to someone you like. Stuff like that. And that was, difficult. That was, a difficult conversation. Not because of the physical thing with it, but it was a difficult conversation because I just started, crying. I was in the middle of my sentence, and I was basically just saying, what I said was, because I'm an extrovert. And now that's become who I am. It's not that I've, become an extrovert just for the sake of it. I became an extrovert because that's who I really want to be. But now that I am an extrovert and I speak my opinions that I've always had and stuff like that, it feels like I almost I don't know, I'm too much for people. And, I think I am for some people. But I don't think, here's the thing, is I don't think I'm too much for, a friendship. I think I'm too much for a relationship. And that's what I was saying. And mid-sentence, when I was explaining this, I just started crying. And I don't cry in front of people. This is like going back to the whole thing where like I don't really express myself in front of people. Or cry in front of people at least. And I cried in front of Ace. And I couldn't remember the last time I cried in person in front of someone. And it had been like a long time since I did that. And I think the last time I did it, it was on accident. Like, kind of like this scenario, but instead of, like, saying, like, oh, it's gonna be okay, or anything like that, she, like, hugged me, and she's like, stop, I'm gonna start crying too. And she didn't start crying, but she just hugged me and let me, like, get over it and continue what I was saying. Like, she gave me support without having to make a big scene of it. And that's, from that point on, I kept telling myself, oh, I have 2 best friends. But realistically, really, at some point I kind of accepted that Ace was my best friend. And we talk about literally anything. And we could talk about, voice message back and forth for like 4 hours straight one day, and then barely talk another. And it's just one of those things where it's like, she's just my best friend. And I've never had, like, a platonic connection like I do with her, where it's made me realize, like, maybe I've never had, like, a best friend. And I don't think I have. And that was weird. It's a weird thing to have a best friend. Because I've never had someone where I could say one of the most craziest things that I would feel weird and hesitate to say to someone else. And I just say it without a care. That's never been a thing I've ever been able to confidently do. But now I can. So, that's something. Let's see. Next topic. Next topic is a bob. This is my final topic that I actually wrote down. But, like, literally having a haircut. I got my haircut at the beginning of my freshman year, like October. So, like, okay, like right near fall break, I guess. So after, like, a quarter of school. And it was one of the best decisions I think I've ever made. I think that I've been, like, I've always known who I am, but now I want to reflect it externally. And I've always loved, like, twee fashion and whimsical fashion. I might put some of my outfits up if I edit this. I've always loved it all. And I feel like it expresses who I really am. He just knocked over an empty bottle. Whatever. I think it expresses who I really am. I think that me cutting my hair was, like, one of the first things I did for my appearance that was for myself. And I think, like, I used to dress very basically, like, just, like, run-of-the-mill, like, not, like, a basic, but, like, just basic, you know? It's, like, basic in the sense of, like, okay, it's, like, a t-shirt and, like, shorts, tank top and jeans, that type of basic. And I think it was really comforting when I just, I guess this isn't really talking about my bob, but just my style in general. It was really comforting to know that, like, nobody would really care about a style change. Like, when I changed my style, all I got was compliments. All I got was, you look really good. Same thing when I started, like, my hair doesn't really look that crazy curly right now, but, again, I'll probably put a picture up. I have, like, pretty curly hair. Not pretty curly, like, medium, I don't know. But, like, when I started embracing my curls, people loved it. When I cut my hair, people loved it. But there's just some things that, like, bug me a little bit. And sometimes it's, like, not my best friends, but my mom. My mom will... Kitty! Hi, baby. My mom will, like, tell me, she'll be like, oh, you dress like a grandma, or, oh, your short hair looks so much worse than your long hair, which I've literally been told by a friend, which, okay, I didn't appreciate this that much, but I've been told by a friend, like, she was like, what do you look like with long hair? I showed her, and she's known me when she knew, Kitty, get your butthole off my bookmarks. She knew me when I had long hair, but we weren't really friends at the time. We didn't really know each other that well. And I showed her a picture of me with long hair. She's like, oh, I'm really glad you cut it because you look interesting. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you didn't really look that great with long hair. Like, she literally said outright I looked worse with long hair. And my mom would try telling me, like, oh, you look so much better with long hair. I don't want to cut your hair again. Because she's a hairdresser. I don't want to cut your hair again. She cut it again. And this is actually kind of longer than I love it. Like, hella long right now. Hello, Kitty. But it's just weird changing up my style. I've changed it most of all in the past 1 year. And it's just been fun developing my style. Okay, you have a little sticker on your tail. There you go. Stop touching my money, kitty. You're gonna knock it over. You sticky hands. Anyways. But, I don't know. Developing my style, cutting my hair. My old hair is that side. You can see it right there. That's my old hair. The tape on top says the big chop of 25. Because that's literally what it was. Did my chair go down? It definitely did. I think. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know why I wrote that, but in my head, it was just like, I think it's one of the things I did when I became more extroverted, is like, I kind of changed, I just created a new brand of me, which feels weird. It feels weird that I've changed myself so completely in the past, like, year. And most people will always, Kitty, I knew you would drop money. Why did you drop money? He dropped money. Money is over here. Kitty, stop. Get your butt off the money. I know. You want to stay on the money. I know. But you cannot stay on the money. I'm not even doing anything. I'm letting you sit there. And you fucking dropped another shit. Just got bit by my cat. Feeling great. But yeah. It's just... And I feel like I don't really... Like, I feel like generally in school, at least, in high school, it's not like you're going to, like, have deep conversations or talk to people the way I'm talking to myself right now. So, yeah, people probably don't perceive me as, like, very... I don't know. Like, I don't act like this at school. I act very, very talkative. I laugh a lot. And it's genuine. It's just different when I'm around people, you know? When I'm around my friends, I act one way. And when I'm by myself, I act another. And it's not that I'm fake. It's just, like, I'm not going to be by myself just, like, laughing my ass off at, like, something that isn't that crazy. You know? But, like, if I'm by myself, I'm gonna, or not, if I'm with other people, I'm gonna laugh so hard you didn't know it was possible you could laugh that hard. And I've been told by people overhearing me laugh to shut up. Are you fucking kidding? I'm not gonna shut up. No! But yeah. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Oh, one of the most difficult things about, like, I'm going to call it a rebrand, but this is just who I am. One of the most difficult things about, like, having a rebrand of, like, my personality, specifically, I used to be quiet, and I used to be considered a nerdy girl. I used to be literally considered a nerd. I remember 7th grade, people would set, like, they would, like, this one dude specifically, well, it was, like, 2 different dudes, and both of them I actually disliked. They would both ask me after tests or something, or on, like, math homeworks or whatever, like, whenever we get work passed back in these classes. We were in advanced classes. I don't really think advanced means anything when it comes to classes, but whatever. They would be like, Scarlett, what do you get? And I'd be like, I'm like fucking 14 out of 15. Everyone in Oz, I scored a 15 out of 15, which means I did better than Scarlett. That's literally how it felt. Like, any time I did better than anyone in class, or they did better than me in class. You think I'm making this up? I'm being so serious. People genuinely reacted that way. It was really just the same few people who I didn't like, but they actually, whenever they did better than me in anything, they would celebrate. And I'm kind of happy I was the standard, but it's also kind of alienating when people say that, and then other people look at you and they're like, oh wow, she must be super smart, and then you're just kind of boiled down, Flanderized, freaking Ned Flanders into freaking is that his name? Ned Flanders? Flanderization. When people Flanderize you into just being, oh, the smart girl. And that's, like, you might say, oh, poor you. And I'm not saying I'm like, oh, I'm the smart girl, I'm so sad. But it's one of those things where it's like, in 7th grade, I wasn't just good at math or had a high A in every class. That's not the only attribute I had, but these people didn't care. They just wanted to feel better about themselves and compare themselves to me. And that feels gross. That feels it's sucky when all people do who you don't know, these people, what if I was friends with them? What if I had the possibility of being friends with these people? Which I will say, like, these specific people I probably wouldn't be friends with. But what if I had the ability to? That's ruined when they put me on a pedestal for being smart. And they tell themselves, oh, she's just some smart girl. And I guess, like, everyone always has, like, snap judgments about anyone they meet. It's human instinct. But having snap judgments after, like, these dudes would be, like, going to my school since kindergarten, some of them. Like, one specific dude went to my school. I went to the same school as him over 10 years, because we went kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way to 9th. They would, well, at that point, it was like 8 years, but my point still stands. We would know each other, or of each other, literally years, and we never knew each other, or not never knew each other, but, like, and all they care, or all they know me as, like, they'd be like, oh, if they were asked, like, oh, do you know who Scarlett is? Oh, yeah, she's a smart girl. And again, it sounds like I'm complaining, which I guess I am, but it's just, it feels stupid when literally all you are known for is being smart. And then, now, because I'm a very bubbly, extroverted person, people think I'm dumb. And I can go on and on. Actually, I will. People think I'm dumb because I'm bubbly now. I was a freshman taking Algebra 2, which isn't a very common class for freshmen. Most of my friends who were in, like, the advanced course with me in, like, pre-high school. Kitty, no. He freaking had a little toddler tantrum and bit my ass, and then it's like, meow, no, I'm not letting you in. Anyways, it's just, like, I went from, like, all of my friends, so I did this, like, summer course where I skipped geometry because I did it over the summer with, like, 8 other kids. Not even 8, no, it was, like, 4 other kids. They all happened to be in other classes, and I think the only person who ended up being alone in my class, maybe I wasn't the only person who, like, because it was basically a class of, like, 30, 20 kids from going to different high schools, and 5 of them were from my school who were taking this, like, geometry course to skip it. Anyways, I was the only freshman in my math class, and I'm not saying this to be like, huh, I'm smart. I'm just saying this as, like, a reference for, like, in comparison to some people. Only people who, like, the same guys who used to be like, I scored better than Scarlett. They know I'm smart. Like, those type of people. But, like, a lot of my friends, some of my friends have literally told me, they've said, like, Scarlett, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't think you're that smart. Like, as smart as you are. Or that smart. Like, I wouldn't think you're smart. And I remember I was in my theater class. And this girl who I was talking to, but, like, this girl who I was friends with, there was a lot of good people in that class, I think. Like, some. She was basically telling me about how she wanted to do, geometry during the summer so that she could do algebra 2 the next year. It's kind of what I did, but, like, instead of taking the honors course, it was just normal. And I was like, oh, I did that. And she kind of laughed like I was joking. And we were sitting next to one of my friends, Elizabeth. And she was like, no, really, she did. Like, she took that course. Because we had this, like, whole counselor thing where we had to go to a classroom. And we had to, like, say what, like, we had to, like, she was like, okay, with a show of hands, who's in this math class, who's in this math class, and who's in this math class. And it's, like, the highest one you could be in was algebra 2. And I was the only one who raised my hand in that class. And I remember Elizabeth was sitting next to me. She was like, you're in algebra 2? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, wow. And they were basically just going over, like, what math class you're supposed to sign up for next year based on what class you're in now. But, like, fast forward, yeah, theater class. She's like, yeah, Scarlett actually is in, like, algebra 2 / trigonometry or whatever it is you're talking about. And this girl, she's like, oh, really? I wouldn't have guessed. I was like, why? And she's like, well, you just don't seem like, don't take offense to this, but, like a smart person, like a nerd smart person. And so now it's been, like, reversed. And what the thing is, though, is that when you're kind of introverted and you're a nerd, people get on you for that way more than if you're an extroverted person who isn't seen as a nerd. And I'd much rather have, like, live in the now and have, like, what's happening to me now, like, where everyone's like, oh, you're smart? I couldn't tell. I'd rather have that than be seen as smart. Or be seen as a nerd. Or be seen as, like, a walking test answer or something. So I guess in a sense it's good. I still use my brain, though. I'm not, like, hiding the fact that I'm smart. I offer to tutor my friends if they need it. When my friends will check their grades beside me, I'll do the same. I don't hide my grades from people. It's just the snap judgments that people make are so just odd. I don't know how else to say it. So, yeah. I don't really have much else to talk about, so I guess that's the end of this video. One thing I wanted to interject and say, but I forgot about, which I'm going to edit in the middle of a clip. Being smart, it's really great because you understand things. But the thing is that because still, even though I'm a bubbly person, people who are close to me, which, as I said, I have a lot of friends, and because I have a lot of friends who are the people I surround myself with every day, a lot of people know that I'm really smart. When I told someone I wanted to be an author at one point, and they knew I was really smart, they said, why? Why would you waste it? Aren't you smart? That's what they said. It's my dream to be an author. To write stories that people read and feel connected to. And to spend hours every day being able to write stories and then go home and live a comfortable life. To get to work out what I want the cover of my book to be, and the title, and make a cute little playlist to make for my book, and write the book, and make these characters in my head that I feel like are real people even though they're not. And the idea that that could be a stupid want in life is so bleak to me. Acting as though I'm stupid. Acting as though, oh, you're so smart, but you're so stupid for wanting to do that with your life. Acting as though I'm wrong for having my own personal goal is so disgusting. And I'm not saying this lightly. My cat's at my door. Okay. Yeah, but the idea that someone can sit down and tell me that my dream is stupid. I'm not stupid. I know it's very hard to get published. It's very hard to get into Brown University. It's very hard to do all of these things. But I still want to, because it is what I know I want to do. I don't believe in like an overall purpose of life. I would say, if anything, I'm kind of an absurdist in the sense of like, I think we should just live our lives the way we want to. I don't think we should, I'm not saying there's no purpose in life, as in like, just do whatever the fuck you want, even if it hurts people, but in the sense of, do what you want to do in your life. I think if everyone just sat down, quit their jobs that they hate, everyone who hates their jobs, quit their job, and decided, I want to live my life the way I want to live my life, everyone's life would be significantly better. And it would be more accepted. People are like, oh, it's not liberal arts and whatnot. Getting a degree in English isn't going to get you money. Okay. If we all just quit, if everyone who hates their job just quit their job and did what they want to do, if they knew what they want to do, the world would be an objectively better place. And I stand by that. My cat is fucking touching shit outside. And just the idea that my dreams are invalidated because if you were me, you do something different, just proves that you don't know me as well. Because it just proves, oh, you want to be an author, but you're so smart. That's all you see me as. You just see me as some random smart kid. And you know that if you were half as smart as I am, that you do something different. And I don't even think I'm that smart. But this is what they probably think. They probably think, if I was half as smart as she was, I'd fucking become Elon Musk or some shit. It's stupid. The idea that and I keep repeating myself, I'm going in circles, but it's just like, I can't fathom hearing someone's dream and saying, that's stupid. I get like, okay, maybe if it's a fucked up dream, like, oh, I hope one day I become a serial killer. That's fucked up. And like, or one day I hope I become a McDonald's employee. Just the employee, not a manager. I know I want to stay an employee. Okay, reach higher, bud. Like, I understand things like that, being like, okay, maybe reach higher. But just because my dream isn't what you want my dream to be, doesn't mean it's any less worthy. And that's, yeah, I don't know. That's another reason why I think, for me personally, as people's perspective of me has changed, I prefer them to think I'm a dumb extrovert than a smart introvert. I think that's fair for me to say. Anyways, bye. I guess that's the end of this video. Like and comment down below. And remember to smash that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications when I post future videos. Holy shit. That was the most YouTuber outro I've ever heard in my entire life. Have a good day. If anyone from school sees this and they actually watch it, hey, goodbye.